Marcia Temple. I'm the Executive Director of the Integrated Recovery Network. I support the motion, but please consider creating the opportunity to divert custodial parents from incarceration so that their children don't go into foster care. Then surround the family with supportive services so the parents and the children have an opportunity for success. 50% of foster youth will be homeless before they're 21. We cannot overcome homelessness without addressing its causes: mass incarceration and the foster care system. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Victor Trujillo. Yes, this is a program that needs to be looked at. There's a lot of bumps on the road. Yeah, touching a mental health program, nowadays we got doctors that, do what the system asks them to do. We need to separate the doctors from the government and basically have a different type of kosher environment, because when it comes to analyzing somebody in the legal system, to have everybody on the same game, we're literally just preparing a roadblock to destroy the person. And it'd be nice that we tend to put this clinician, this mental project aside, not in government, because I understand, I believe it, besides you guys putting this, Hans and Solis, a supporter of this bill is basically Barger. She's put 6 programs for mental health. So we got to stick together and change our programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
With today's dilemmas, such as what happened in Pittsburgh, can we avoid the abuse and neglect that we see happening today? Do we have a strategy for that? I believe the gentleman that was in his vehicle possibly suffered from mental health, trying to survive, working, living, and he got tired of the rigorous lifestyle and decided to send gifts out to Democrats to remind them that no place like home, thanks to Kevin DeLeon. And with that new measure, under Measure 2, in which you, the taxpayers, the ratepayers, are asked to pay more money to replace our housing crisis, to replace our mental health crisis in the streets. This is what we're going through. So now, hearing the report here, and by public's opinion on what is considered mental health, wouldn't you agree with me that abuse and neglect of living individuals living in homelessness, abuse and neglect? And simply by money, can we reverse the democratic problem of homelessness that Gavin Newsom has reported that he's trying to make children smarter and better in our schools? Doesn't that sound like hypocrisy? Or am I just making this all up? Have any one of you really looked into the crisis of homelessness on your streets, other than to ignore it and walk away? Well, let's stop that problem. Let's vote for Republican, and let's vote for Cox.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, yes. My name is Precious Young. I believe that this issue is a great one for the simple fact that it would help to make things better for the children and the youth, and also exhibit protection for them in the sense of, because a lot of these children are lost, they have mental health issues, they don't know how to properly advocate for themselves and speak for themselves and express themselves, so a lot of times these children act out. So for the simple matter of making improvements where they can so that they can be able to have other effective ways of communicating and expressing themselves, it makes it a lot better. So implementing this 18 months thing, I believe that's a start, but they need a longer, extended program so they can have, because after the 18 months is up, it's like they go back to not having any type of programs or any type of things. So it needs to be, 18 months is a great start, but it needs to be extended longer than that. So hopefully the contract is extended once that time is up. So these kids can have a continuous outlet of being able to do different things. Because a lot of these families, they don't get a chance to be able to have a consistent support system in the sense of being able to have consistency and affordable programs available to them so they can be able to have a continuous flow of help. Because a lot of the programs drop the ball after that time period. So they give them 18 months, and then after that, they drop the ball. The programs become non-existent, and the children have nowhere to go or nothing else to do after that time frame. So 18 months is a great start, but I think it needs to be an extended thing after that fact. It needs to be extended into another term or another, longer consistency so these children can continue to have consistent programs and consistent help to get things resolved, because it all stems from mental health half the time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Geneviève Clavel. I like the spirit of the program. I just want to know why you selected 5. Is it because we have 5 districts? No. That I would like to know how you come to the number 5. But I agree, you have to have something after the 18 months. When you do those kind of those pilot program, many times it's nothing to follow up after, and I think that's a big waste of money if there is no mechanism after to follow up. We have a huge problem in the foster system here in Los Angeles County, so anything we can do to make it better will be a fantastic improvement. And I like to, and I will be keeping an eye on that wonderful program, you can bet. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes all those who signed up to speak on item 12. The item is moved by Supervisor Hahn, seconded by Supervisor Solis. Any objection to a unanimous vote? Seeing none, that will be the action. Let us move then to item 13, also held by Supervisor Hahn, early care and education.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank you, Supervisor Kuehl, for joining me in this motion. Earlier this year, the Advancement Project released a report on early care and education programs in LA County, and they estimated that 51% of the county's babies and toddlers are eligible for state-subsidized programs, but only 6% of them actually benefit. They cite a number of reasons for this, such as decreasing number of licensed child care spaces, a lack of quality preschools in the areas of highest needs, and they also talk about another significant